Welcome to twoquestions.tv. Today I'm talking about Elle Darby and influencer marketing. Welcome to twoquestions.tv. I'm Susan Baroncini-Moe, and today I'm talking about Elle Darby and influencer marketing. And if you don't know who Elle Darby is, she's been in the news lately because she's a British travel blogger who sent out an email to a hotel in Dublin asking if they were interested in a possible social media collaboration. I'll explain what that is in a minute. The owner of the hotel took her email, posted it on Facebook with her name kind of marked out, but you could still kind of tell. Then the hotel's Facebook audience started commenting about Elle, about her request, and also went to her YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter and other social media platforms to say really disparaging and unkind things about her. Then Elle created a YouTube video responding to all of this and talking about that she was hurt by this and that she's a business owner. I'll link to her video in the cards for today, as well as in the show notes for today. After this whole thing exploded, the owner of the hotel decided to ban all bloggers from his hotel. I don't think bloggers now are really going to want to go to that hotel or collaborate with him. I wanted to shoot this quick video in defense of Elle, who is this young woman who has built a social media presence of over 200,000 followers. That's not the biggest I've seen, but it's nothing to sneeze at. It's a very impressive, respectable number. And so I want to talk about that. I also want to talk about influencer marketing and why it's so powerful and why influencers like Elle and sometimes me get things for free. So this whole vlogger thing, it's new, but it's also not new. There are gifting suites at the Oscars and other award shows where celebrities are showered with thousands of dollars in gifts, in free merchandise. For example, they're given electronics and clothes and shoes and sunglasses and jewelry and, all kinds of things. And the hope is, by the brands, is that the celebrity will wear or use their products or clothes or whatever in public or talk about them, so that then their brand can be seen. A company sends a pair of shoes to a celebrity. That celebrity wears those shoes out shopping one day. The paparazzi snap photos of the celebrity, sell the photos to the media, newspapers, magazines, websites, and then those photos are everywhere, and all the fans of that celebrity go, whoa, those shoes, that person wore those shoes. And so they all go and buy those shoes. That brand is now making tons of money just for having given one pair of shoes to a celebrity. So this is something that happens frequently. My husband and I were talking about this. My husband is not he doesn't follow this kind of stuff. And so I was telling him all about this the other day, and he was like, wait a minute, that happens all the time in the music industry. I mean, a drummer will get free sticks, free drums, free cymbals, just to use them at a gig so that the brand then gets some exposure, and also that the drum is endorsing that particular brand. So he said also that drummers get paid, my husband's a drummer, drummers get paid to use a certain company's drum kits or sticks so that people see them using them and they want them. And so a lot of drummers are under contract. Tommy Lee is under contract. Dave Weckl is under contract with particular brands, and those are the only brands he's really supposed to use in public. So this stuff used to happen only to celebrities who had massive audiences. But the rising trend of influencer marketing is really just a democratization of the kind of freebies that celebrities only used to enjoy. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's kind of cool. I think it's great. Why is that so bad? Now, here's the other thing you don't know, though. I get tons of free books for this show. Tons. You could see my whole office. You'd be amazed at the amount of books. I get books to book, and I think that's probably not something that I'm going to endorse on the show. I get products and then things like that. But here's the thing. You have to pay taxes when you get something for free that you would normally have paid for. So every book that I get, every product that I get, I have to pay taxes on that as if it's income. And I don't know if Elle has to do that. She lives in England. I don't know what their tax laws are. But the point is there's more to this than you may think. A lot of people are talking about that Elle should get a job. Elle has a job. Her job is blogging and vlogging. And like every other blogger and vlogger that I know, Elle clearly works hard to create content that her audience likes. Even in just that one video that I've linked to, you can see she has put careful thought into the branding, the visual look of the videos. And for the folks saying that they hate people who are famous for being famous, That's not exactly what's going on here. Even the people who are famous for being famous aren't really famous for being famous. They're famous for being entertaining. People don't watch Snooki and I don't know the situation. People don't watch those people. I've never watched those people, but people don't watch those people because they're famous. They watch them because they're entertaining. But when you look at the influencers and bloggers and vloggers, most of the ones I know aren't famous for being famous. They're famous for bringing value to their audiences. They know their people. They know their niche. Fashion bloggers bring great outfits and inspiration and ideas about style and body positivity to their audiences. Beauty bloggers bring beauty tutorials and reviews of products to their audiences. People who are travel bloggers, they bring, new experiences to their audiences. And in some cases, people are just vlogging about their family. If you look back, the very first episode of this show that I did was with a vlogger named Clintus McGintis, and his shows are very much about his family, and he has another show that's streaming games, and there's an audience for that. Just because you don't like the content or the subject matter, if you're not into it and you don't personally value it, it doesn't invalidate the content. They're creating content for their audience, just like I create business and coaching content just for you. So I don't think that it invalidates the content at all. And this is the thing, this is the new advertising. We ignore ads. We ignore banner ads on our websites. We ignore billboards. We ignore magazine ads. We ignore ads now because we're so conditioned to see them, and they're just a part of our world. So we tend to bypass them. But people are 64% more likely to buy something after seeing a video about it. And that includes influencer videos. Actually, people watching influencer videos are probably way more likely to buy, because the reality is that a Nielsen poll showed that 83% of people in 60 different countries around the world are more likely to buy something based on recommendations from friends and family members. And guess what? When you watch someone on YouTube and you get to see them with their friends and their family and their daily life, a vlogger, for example, people begin to think of those people as friends, people they trust to get recommendations from. And so yes, influencers actually influence people. They just do. And they influence them a lot. I read Ellie's email that she sent to the hotel. It was polite. It was professional. I could have written it. There was nothing wrong with what she wrote. In most cases, when you approach a business like that, and I have, when I did my holiday gift guide for this show, I reached out to some brands that I really liked, and I said, I like your product. We'd like a sample for the show so I can put it in the gift guide. And a couple ignored, but I never got an angry email. I got people who wrote back and were very polite, very enthusiastic. The way these engagements happen is either the influencer reaches out to the business and a brand that they like or that they want to represent, or the business will approach you. And I have businesses approach me all the time, and sometimes they're appropriate and a good fit, and sometimes they're not. More often than not, they're not. It's not just emailing someone to get something for free. There's a negotiation around that. There's a collaboration. It's called a collaboration for a reason. So when you are working with a brand, you work with the brand and you talk about how do you want this represented? What kinds of things would you like me to show? It's not just an advertisement. So when I work with a brand, I know my audience, I know my viewers, I know my blog readers, and so I know the kinds of things they want to see. They don't want to see a sales pitch. They want it to be woven into a narrative. If it's woven into a more valuable piece, if we're actually creating value, there's a lot of negotiation that goes on around how brands get represented and how this influencer marketing works. But in particular, this show, it's a lot of emailing and scheduling. On my part, it's a lot of reading the books and testing products, coming up with questions that will be useful and interesting to you as the audience, then conducting the interviews. Right now, I'm in a whole day of interviews and I'm recording this in between. Then editing takes 2 to 4 times as long as the actual video itself. So if the interview was like 10 minutes, it can take an hour to edit that video. Then there's uploading, which always takes forever, and promoting the video, which we do consistently and constantly. And now we're doing the podcast, so then it's stripping out the audio and editing that and adding those components and then uploading that. So it's not an easy thing. And even if you're shooting on a mobile phone out in the world, there's tons of editing that goes into that. I watched Ellie's video. There's a lot of editing in there, and it's clear there's a lot of work that goes into it. So on the one hand, I want to say these influencers do a lot of work, And a lot of times brands are interested in working with an influencer, but they just want to give them free product, not realizing that the influencer has to pay taxes on that. Plus it will take hours for the creation of content. So it ultimately ends up costing the influencer. So I first and foremost want to encourage my business owners out there, please be generous with your influencers, because it's not just, hey, would you like a free product? Now you're asking them, would you like to pay taxes in order to write a blog post for us? So be mindful of that and consider compensating fairly your influencers, but also be smart as you choose your influencers. You don't want to choose somebody who doesn't have an audience. You don't want to choose somebody with no comments on their social media. Influencer marketing, when done right, is highly effective and it's on the rise. And so I encourage you to definitely take note of that and look for ways to implement it properly. I also recorded this video because I think it's very important that we encourage young women in particular, but all young people who want to start a business. And if they're enterprising and the way that they want to bring value is by building an audience, creating valuable content for that audience, we want to encourage that. Elle Darby is a 22-year-old woman who makes a living creating videos and writing, and I fully support her, and I fully support anyone like her. Ellie, if you are watching this video, I would like to invite you to come on to questions.tv to talk to me about influencer marketing and what goes into it, and I'd love to have you on the show. So contact me. All right, viewers, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, in particular because I feel very strongly about it. I'll see you next time.